All right, this is Beat Cop's Guide, and my name is David Haynes, and my maitre d' over here is Paul Garlington.
Your table is ready, sir.
Thank you. What's going on? Oh, I forgot. I was going to tell you before we started that I sort of wanted to change up the format. Didn't I start to say that at one point and stop?
Yeah, that happened like 4 times with both of us today. We have unfinished conversations. It's like the old days when we're on the radio and we drive to the place and do the whole show before we got there.
Yeah.
What's the new format?
All right, I just I kind of wanted to. I noticed the last couple times in the weeks when I go on the radio on Friday mornings on WGN, Bob Surratt Show, say AM 720 here in Chicago, that whenever I talk about our podcasts and our videos, that I say I expand on the reviews that I do on the radio. And then what happens is we start off, we generally do sort of miscellaneous, what are we smoking, and then we move on to whatever. And we somehow end up never really expanding on the reviews.
Oh, so what does that mean?
So what I was thinking is we could talk about what we're smoking, and then I think we should go right into food and then get to miscellaneous later.
Okay, all right. I'm down for that.
We end up going off on tangents.
But that's our job.
Well, I know, but I mean, if we're going to go off on tangents, we ought to have like sort of it built in as to when it works for us.
It's starting to get dangerously close to having a format, Dave.
We've always had a sort of half-ass format.
All right, well, what are you smoking?
And, when you're here, it's a full-ass format.
That's right.
I got wild cherry. Do you see what I am smoking?
Your pipe is fixed.
Thank you to Marianne.
We need a close-up camera because that's an amazing pipe, man.
We thank you to Marianne Keller in Tobyhanna, Pennsylvania, who
and she kind of cleaned it up and refinished it. And
maybe, I don't know. She did that to one of my other pipes. So I sent my. So for those of you who don't remember, because it's been many months since we talked about this, I broke the stem, and it's an unusual hand carved pipe that I could not find a stem that fit. That was like store bought. I bought like all the different sizes. It was not a standard size fit for the pipe. So this has been sitting in my car, in my console, and I figure, whenever I go to a pipe store, if I remember, I bring it in and see if there's any stems there. And so I sent it off to Marianne Keller, who's a pipe fixer, I guess. And she created a brand new, she handmade a stem.
That is fantastic. Really?
So I sent this pipe, I had a stem made. I sent another pipe that was clogged because it's a briar pipe, a full bent briar pipe. And I bought it also used, and it had some old tobacco or tar inside here that I could not get out with a pipe cleaner. And so I hadn't been able to use it for a few weeks. And so I sent them both to her. She cleaned out that one, re-drilled out the hole, built a stem, shipped it back. It cost me less than $50.
Pipe emergencies, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm saying.
Problems are solved here.
This is my favorite pipe because it's a guy smoking a cigar, and it's a pipe.
I love that pipe. I think there's only one way it could be improved. That's if there was some way that that every time you smoke, the end of that cigar got brighter, right?
Or smoke came out of it.
There's got to be a way.
There's got to be. So, what are you smoking? You smoke the same thing I am, right?
I am. I'm trying this cherry tobacco. It's very flavorful. I'm smoking out of a Bones.
We are? No, good.
Yeah, we're on Facebook. And I got a watch party going on. So, hi, everybody. How you doing?
Yeah, so... By the way, I realized before this, and now I'm pulling out my phone to do it, that I can also look just on YouTube to make sure we're live on. Since you're looking on Facebook,
why would you do that? I mean, why would you work so hard?
We actually are starting
stop
to get
everything. Did we start today with no problem?
Well, I'm going to find out in a second.
We'll see.
So, but we are starting to get some YouTube subscribers, and if you're watching this on YouTube, just subscribe. Hit the subscribe button down below. And you know what? We're going to try and start adding some shorter videos during the week. So hit the little bell so you get notifications.
I want to play a video, but I don't know how. The one I sent you, and listen, I don't watch the news. I'm poorly informed. I don't know anything. So I don't know when they did this, but WGN did a special recently about Mr. Rogers goes to a dispensary, and it is really good. Like, usually WGN is like, it's like a dad joke. It's like, yeah, okay. This one's really funny, man. It's really good.
I saw it. You know, another really. See, now we're going off on a tangent.
Oh, damn it! Oh,
But you
sorry.
know what? Here, write down.
No, rewind.
Write down,
I can't. I don't have a pen.
Write down funny
I lost
videos.
my pens. I don't have a pen.
All right. So, well, let's go back. Let's talk about food first, and then we'll talk about the. I want to talk about the Target video and stuff like that. So,
Okay. Fine.
So I was on today, and I reviewed.
Were you on the radio today, Dave?
I was. So I reviewed Cafe 63 down at 63rd Street, and what?
I'm just staring at the camera. Let my feelings be known. Because Dave's on the Bob Surratt show, but you know who's not on the Bob Surratt show? You have a 50%.
We did mention
chance.
you today.
Oh, get out!
We did mention
How
you.
did you mention me on the
Bob
radio?
actually brought you up and suggested that we mention you.
Aw,
Yeah.
it'd be easier if I was in the room.
I cannot figure out
Of
how
course, I could never get up that early.
to switch accounts for my damn.
Ladies and gentlemen, just go ahead and keep watching as Dave figures out how to use his phone.
Sorry.
Also, welcome to We're Really Old Radio.
So it's Cafe 63, but also okay. Just the way this starts. There's a short segment to start off with, and then there's two. I'm on for two segments. One's a short one, one's a long one. The restaurant review is in the long segment. So what I've been doing lately is I found like places that will donate stuff. You know, like bakeries, mostly bakeries, bagel place. By the way, if you know any bagel places or something more healthier,
Why do you want a dog?
more healthier than donuts. So today I went to Allegretti's Bakery. Have you ever been to Allegretti's Bakery?
No, I don't even know where that is.
It is at in Norwich, 7717 West.
Oh, Dave, is your phone ringing?
Yes, it is, but it's not my wife, unlike you. You know what? So it's what do you call it? It's 7717 West Lawrence in Norwich, Norwich, Illinois.
Okay, yeah.
Illinois, and so they. It looks like we're actually live.
Okay, just everyone chill out because it looks like everything on our broadcast today is working.
Which is really blows my mind. So the camera's probably going to die. It's gonna
Probably
fall
this
over.
is how climate change begins.
Okay. So I went there this morning on the way to the radio station and picked up donuts. First of all, Allegretti's makes the best, I think, donuts on the north side. And
Yeah, careful there because we know who makes the best donuts.
well, as far as chocolate-covered cake donuts, chocolate frosted cake donuts, I think they make the best that I've ever had. There are some other flavors of donuts I think that might be either matched or topped by a place on the south side that we could talk about. That I'm actually going to go and bring donuts in like in the next couple of weeks so we can talk about that. But Allegretti's has the and I went there this morning and they were literally hand frosting them 2 minutes before they put them in the box for me to take with me to the studio.
Talk about fresh.
Absolutely fresh.
Tell me something as a police officer. Was that more enjoyable for you than most people, or?
No. And I even said I said when I brought them to the radio, I said I'm not one to perpetuate a stereotype, but hey, these are really good donuts. And what's funny is like I email Bob Surratt back and forth. We talk about different things, but usually when we talk about stuff on the radio, I talk to his producer, not to him.
Sure.
And he sent me a message afterwards. First of all, during the break after I got off the air, like he doesn't eat while he's on the air. So during the break, when I left and the news was on, he went in there and had a donut. They were talking about it after I left. After I was in the car and I heard him. He's like, "Did you take one of these donuts?" And then he sent me an email message talking about how fantastic these donuts were.
Wow.
So I'm telling you, they were really.
You
good
might want to
donuts.
bring another box.
Well, here's the thing. I brought a dozen donuts down there for the people at the studio. I left that dozen donuts because I didn't eat any of those donuts because I had another dozen in the car that I was bringing home. Oh. Yeah. And I didn't ask for a dozen.
Donut dozen
I asked.
guy.
I told the lady.
Double dozen donut Dave.
I said
that's your new nickname. 4D. Double. I can't say it.
These donuts are for the studio. I want to bring some home to my wife and kids. So just give me about 4 or 5 donuts.
Your friends.
She goes, here's just take another dozen. All right. So I told my wife. I said,
wait, did she know you were going to be on the radio?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I told my wife. I said, yeah, I just want to have one chocolate frosted donut. You can bring the rest to work. So she did. And so I took my chocolate frosted donut and I put it in my refrigerator. And I waited so I can have it when I woke up when I had my breakfast.
Okay, stop right there. did you lock it up in a sealable Tupperware that no one else can open?
No.
Where's
I
that
locked
donut
it up
now?
in a baggie. It is currently residing in my daughter's stomach,
Oh.
who came home for lunch, and since she didn't go to work, she didn't know. My daughter works with my wife, so my daughter would have gotten donuts at work when my wife brought them in. And instead, she didn't go to work today. She was doing something else. So she came home, saw the donut, ate the donut, and now I am without the one. I haven't had a donut in weeks. I don't eat. I try not to eat bread, so it was off my diet. I was really looking forward to this damn donut.
The sad thing is that when you don't have a donut, you can't shoot straight. So those things are vital to your profession.
Well, it's a good training tool because
Right.
if you put an Allegretti donut on the target, then you will definitely hit the center, so that you don't damage the rest of the donut.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. So there you go. There's a
So that's my donut story.
double dozen donutless Dave's
Donutless.
donut story. Right there.
And we also talked about Cafe 63. It's a really cool old timey diner down by.
When you say old timey, what do you mean?
I mean, it's like the diners.
'Cause some of the people listening to us were born in the '90s, dude. So I don't think.
Oh yeah. Speaking of that, you want to? All right. Have you seen?
Oh, tangent coming up. Here comes a tangent. Everybody, hold on. Right, it's like Star
I
Trek.
put this on Facebook yesterday. I was watching Hunters.
Captains, you can't take no more tangents. Talking about what?
Hunters, the new Robert De Niro. No, not Robert De Niro. Al
the other
Pacino.
Al Pacino.
The new Al Pacino series on Amazon, which I'm still reserving judgment on. I saw the first episode, which is fantastic as far as the story goes and the cinematography. My problem was I expected something that had to do with actual history, and it seems to be completely fiction.
I didn't look at it and think history show. I mean,
I did. I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a fictionalized.
Is it time travel? What is it?
No, it's Nazi hunters. They hunt Nazis back in the 80s. I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I thought it was okay. Yeah,
I thought it was going to be a fictionalized account of the Simon Wiesenthal and the actual Nazi hunters that were still going on in the 70s and the 80s, and it's not. It's more of a Man in the High Castle sort of almost not quite, but almost a science fiction account of Nazi hunting.
Yeah.
So I'm reserving judgment because first of all, the 80s, the period stuff, the sets and the photography are really good. The story seems so far to be pretty good. Now I don't know. It might be a first episode thing. I've only seen the first episode, but we'll have to see.
But what's this got to do with food?
Okay, so it doesn't. It has to do with the fact that people were born in the 90s.
Okay, tangent.
So I'm watching this show, and there's a scene where the main character, goes in and he's looking up a phone number in the Yellow Pages, and I happen to move my mouse at that moment, and I'm watching. I'm watching Amazon on the computer, and when I do that, the trivia comes up on the site, and there's a thing that says, before the invention of the internet, a encyclopedia collection of telephone numbers called the Yellow Pages was widely and commonly used. Is there trivia?
It's still distributed.
I'm
sometimes.
telling you, I'm like,
come on,
holy
man.
crap! How old am I?
It's not like it's a papyrus scroll. Come on.
That's exactly what I thought. I'm like, wait a minute, don't we still have Yellow Pages? Wow.
Kids these days do shitty research. That's what that is. That's crappy research.
Who would not know what Yellow Pages?
My kids.
Didn't even occur. I don't know. It makes me want to ask. I'm going to ask my kid when she gets home from school. Do you know what the Yellow Pages are? And I don't understand what. Anyway, so I'm sorry. I went off on a tangent too. We were talking about old-timey diners like Cafe 63.
Oh, yeah.
Old-timey diner. What it means is, to me is
it's the late '90s time.
Yeah, it's set up like the late '90s, and it's but it's
nothing but Nickelback and Pearl Jam playing in the background.
It's got old-time foods like stuff that you can't make anymore because it's not
legal,
healthy. Or, like fried bologna sandwiches, just like Elvis used to make.
Yeah, fried bologna sandwiches. See, I don't. That's not a big deal to me because I grew up eating those. I grew up in the South, man. So fried bologna sandwiches, that's just lunch.
Yeah.
You know?
Chris eats bologna sandwiches because he spends a lot of time in lockup.
Yep. For those of you who've never been arrested, that's what you eat.
You eat bologna sandwich and bologna and white bread.
Not fried. Not even with mayonnaise. Just bologna and bread.
I used to be in charge of ordering the food for the lockups. I wanted to order green bologna. They actually make green bologna. I wanted to order green bologna, and they wouldn't let me.
Yeah, because gross.
Yeah.
This is good tobacco.
This is very good tobacco.
I'm surprised. I didn't think I was going to like it because it's all cherry, but it's pretty good.
So they also had shit on a shingle, which I couldn't say on the radio.
Dude, that is the best. I grew up eating that, too. That is Southern as you can get right there.
You know what? It's funny. I remember my dad.
How did they make it? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I didn't try that. I was had a skillet, and I tried some of the corned beef hash and stuff like that. But the shit on a shingle was actually their special, one of their specials for the day. And
did they call it SOS?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And the lady wouldn't say it. I'm like, really? What does SOS mean?
Stuffed on a shingle?
Yeah. I'm like, is that really the name of it? I think it's got a different name. I tried to get her to say it because there's a very nice
how many
lady.
guys have tried to get her to say it? Though?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Like
sure,
every dude that walks in there.
Oh, you know what I did?
What was in it?
I'm not exactly sure. I just saw it on the menu.
Let me tell you what's in it. Shit on the shingle is, first of all, you start with a good gravy, good Southern gravy, which is basically, Southern gravy is essentially bechamel sauce. All right, French bechamel, a mother sauce.
That's what they call it down in Alabama. Bechamel.
Bechamel. And give me some of that bechamel sauce. So it's just like the gravy for biscuits and gravy, only it's probably not got it. It doesn't have sausage in it because this is a Depression era thing. So you couldn't afford sausage or even bacon. What you could afford is dried beef or chipped beef, as they sometimes call it, because dried beef is they take a piece of beef,
and they dry it.
It's compressed. It's a bunch of different pieces of beef compressed together, and then they dry it, and then they shave it. They have a machine in it, and they cut it paper thin. So you pay for you'd get like a jar of it, and it'd have like 9 pieces in there, and it's nothing. It's like almost an infinitesimal amount of beef, and you chop that up, and that goes in the gravy, and then you chop up some boiled eggs, and they go in the gravy, and then you serve it on toast, the shingle. That's shit on shingle.
And I remember growing up, especially as a teenager, my dad talking about having it in the Army. It was a staple in the Army back in the 60s. And I to this day, I remember I'd probably been in the Marine Corps 2 years before I was actually on the menu at the chow hall, and I remember specifically because it was the first time I had ever seen it or had it, and I called my dad and said, "You're not going to believe I finally had shit on a shingle." It was not when I was in the Marine Corps. I never saw it.
Yeah,
except I suppose, like you say, in southern restaurants, but
it's not really a restaurant thing in the South. This is a trailer thing in the South. It's definitely Depression era poor people food. This is not food.
That's that fried spam sandwiches at the
that's a Hawaiian
Cafe
thing.
63. That's what I figured.
So there's another breakfast that I need to introduce them to, and my uncle makes this, and it is called goldenrods. All right, so check it out. It's toast.
Blonde-haired man.
No, it's toast, and you cut it into like planks. All right, and then you use the white gravy, nothing in it, just the white gravy, maybe some chopped egg whites, but that's it. And you take boiled egg yolks. By the way, the eggs in the SOS are boiled eggs. You take the yolks from boiled eggs and you put them in a sifter. You arrange the planks like in a little log cabin. You pour the gravy over it, and then you bump the sifter, and it makes a golden shower of egg yolks that covers the whole thing. It's good.
Now called the Donald Trump egg. All right. Wait, there were... speaking of another food off on a tangent thing, I got up one Saturday morning or whatever, and I'm going in the kitchen to make breakfast, and there's a pan sitting on the stove that my daughter cooks all the time and leaves all this stuff for me to clean up, or my wife. But so there's a pan there with some water in it and what looked like to be eggs left, little pieces of egg. And I'm like, "What are you making? Or what'd you make?" She said, "I made eggs." I said, "You made poached eggs?" And she's like, "No, I just made eggs." And I'm like, "Well, what's the water doing in the pan?" "Well, I was just trying to make it a different way." I said, wait a minute. You just stumbled on poached eggs as you were experimenting with eggs?
Well, she doesn't know because she doesn't know what poached means.
Yeah. So, but my daughter, my 13-year-old daughter, made poached eggs without realizing what she was doing.
That is the hardest thing for me to make.
I'm like, "Did they taste good?" She goes, "Yeah, they were pretty good." And I'm like, I've never successfully been able to make poached eggs.
Poached eggs are so hard to make. They always end up being these wild, crazy wigs.
Yeah, or wonton, like egg drop soup.
Yeah.
That's what it ends up being like to me. Like these things just sort of.
It's the water temperature, and also you have to always remember to put a little bit of vinegar in the water. And then you have to ease the egg down into the water. You can't just plop it in. You got to ease it down in there. And the one trick is you swirl the water in the pan, and you ease it down in the middle of the whirlpool. Put it in there. Anyway,
right.
Welcome to Eggs on Toast, the new radio show from Dave and Chris, where we talk about eggs on toast.
All right, so
that's our show. Thanks for calling.
No, wait, there was something else. So we talked about hunters already.
I went somewhere. I went to a restaurant. I do stuff.
Wait a minute. What did you earlier on? You went off on a tangent, and I wanted to get back to it because.
Was it me about losing my pens?
No. What did we talk about?
I don't know, man. Rewind the tape.
No, right at first we geez, no, I'm telling you, I'm getting old. But you started.
Look, the thing about a tangent is, if we go off on a tangent and then we go off on another tangent, we can't come back unless it happens organically. You can't force it, all right? We're just going to have to come back to whatever that was accidentally or tangentially.
Tangentially.
Genital.
No.
Tangential. So if you're in the South and wearing culottes, you can have genitals.
Right. All right. Hey,
that's our show.
There was I had to take a class. I don't know if I could. I guess I could talk about stuff at work. I had to take an online course in how to use a taser at work. And one of the questions is
it a video game?
No, it's like you have to take a pre.
Is it called "Don't Tase Me, Bro"?
It's like going over all the warnings and all the things you're supposed to look for, try and do. It's the basically the classroom portion of the taser before you get to the practical application. So we have to take it before we get qualified. But one of the things they're talking about is like where to aim when you tase people, and it's one of the things.
Nose.
Well, one of the things is to avoid the you're supposed to avoid the head, avoid the genitals, and avoid the breasts on women. The best place to tase somebody is in the back. But because all the muscles work, it works the best there. But if you do have to tase them in the front, they say to try to avoid the genitals, the head, or on a woman on the breasts. And it got me thinking that if you tase a trans person, should you avoid the breast, or is that a gender bias problem if you are avoiding the breasts of a trans male? And if it's a trans female, male to female, then should you be avoiding the breasts? So,
pardon me while I stare into the camera.
I'm trying to be sensitive. I'm trying to be sensitive.
No, you're not.
I am.
No, you're not.
I'm thinking about this stuff.
Quit worrying about all the fluid stuff. Just if there's boobs, don't tase them.
Okay.
Simple enough. Don't tase boobs.
Well,
easy.
That's easy for you to say, but then
no, that's easy for anybody to say. If you have a taser, and there are boobs, don't tase them.
What if there's not boobs?
Then you can tase.
What if it's a woman with no boobs?
You can't tase. The breast area is out.
That's exactly what I was getting to.
The breast area is out. If it's a woman, the chest is boobs, no matter what.
Right.
Those are boobs.
That's what I'm saying.
If the person presents as a woman, those are boobs.
Right.
You don't know whether it's a woman presenting as a man or a man presenting as a woman until after they've been tased and you check their wallet. All right? So quit worrying about that shit. If you see boobs or if you see a woman...
I'm sorry, just to correct you, that's not correct. We do not have to check their wallet. We just have to go by what they say.
There you go. Before you tase them, go, excuse me,
are you
ma'am or sir, where should I tase you?
What is your preferential pronoun?
What's your preferable tasing point?
You know, another thing I noticed in state law is I had to take another online course. And at one point, they were talking about when is a person a threat to themselves. And the laws sort of, the specific law with the phrase was when a person threatens to harm himself, herself, or others. And I said, that's kind of biased. What about all the other genders?
Oh, my God.
Right? I'm telling you.
Oh, my God.
I think we have to get Illinois really on the right track for...
I think you don't believe that gender is fluid.
No, I don't. I believe you have one.
There's a scientific explanation for it. I'll look it up for you.
Excuse me. I don't care if you identify as a man or you identify as a woman. I just believe you have to identify as a man or as a woman.
It's more complicated than that.
Yeah, see, I don't think so.
It is. It's
I
because,
will
it's
treat
because you don't have a problem with it.
I will treat anybody. I mean, hey, transgender people. I may not understand it, but I respect it.
Well, that's all that counts.
Yeah, it's the other ones. Either you're a man or a woman. It's anything else that I'm sorry, I don't respect that.
What do you mean anything else?
Anything else other than a man or a woman.
That's because you don't have those kind of feelings, so you don't understand them.
I don't understand them. I don't believe they're real.
But they are real. They're actually tracked by science. It's a real thing. It's not made up.
I have
There
not
are
seen
people-
any science that says
Okay,
that.
I have. I recently read it. It opened my eyes to this kind of thing because I didn't understand the science. I really did. I didn't know. But there are genetic markers that cause people to have. A person can have the genetic markup of a woman, so that they have the hormonal influences and the physiological influences in the brain of a woman, but the physical appearance of a man.
Wow.
So they really, really do feel in every way exactly the way a woman feels, but they present and identify as a woman, but they present physically as a man because that's how their body worked out. Those are separate things.
No, you're missing my point. I'm sorry. I agree with that. I've seen that science. That is what I'm talking about.
Oh.
That I respect.
Oh,
That I like I said, I may not understand because I don't have those feelings, but I am willing to accept people as they are and respect that. But what you just said is that sometimes people are born or present as a man, but they have all the feelings of a woman, so really their genetic markers say the woman. Do you know the two words that you said in that sentence?
man and woman.
Man and woman.
Yeah.
They're at least, they may present as a man, but they feel
Well,
like
that's
a woman.
me simplifying the stuff. That's not what the
I'm
science
sorry.
is.
No, it
The
seems
science-
to me it is simple. It's either man or woman, male or female. That's it.
What if you're male on the inside and female on the outside?
Then they present as a female.
So you're exclusively talking about how they present. You don't care about the other stuff.
I don't care how they present. I don't care how they were born. All I care about is you are either born as a male or a female, and you either present as a male or a female, however you want to do it. But you only have those two choices. That's what I believe. There's only two choices, male or female.
I think there's some people that might argue with that.
Yes, I think I've seen the last Facebook thing had something like 24 different genders.
Wow, that's impressive.
Sorry, I don't believe. I believe male, female. Present how you want. I'll respect it, but I just I don't believe there's.
You know, what would make it
anything more.
easy is if they had a way to tell from a distance. So, like, if we had them wear like a piece of, I don't know, like a star on their chest, or maybe a mark on their right wrist or their forehead, then we'd be able to tell.
Or what was that Dr. Seuss book where they had a triangle on their stomach?
Yeah. Sorry, didn't mean to get
Or
into
Morty, Rick and Morty, where they had little nipple rings that were either flats or points. Speaking
I
of
didn't
that,
know you watch Rick and Morty.
I don't. My kids do, and I'm sitting there one day. I'm like kind of reading. I'm in the living room. And my daughter comes up and she's, "I'm going to watch Rick and Morty." She puts on Rick and Morty, and there's a scene where they're out. For those of you who don't know Rick and Morty, Rick is
The crazy
the
scientist.
crazy old man scientist, and his grandson is Morty. So the father,
Cone nipples are what you're talking about.
yeah.
Thank
So
you, Adam
the,
Cruz.
The father wants to spend some time with his son, and his son's going somewhere with the grandpa. So what they end up doing is going to some planet, and they drop the father off at a daycare specifically designed for that guy. And no matter which dimension he's in, they have a daycare that they drop this guy off, and it's all these other different versions of this same guy. And it's like somebody came up with this daycare thing. And I'm sitting there watching this, and I'm going, this is really disturbing. I turn to my daughter, I go, It's like I can see you dropping me off at this place. At a place just like,
Oh yeah,
I could see
yeah.
this if this
the Davatorium.
the Dave daycare or whatever. And she starts laughing, and I go, it's like scary. I'm looking at this going, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, yeah.
so.
That's what's going to be after we die. We think we're going to go to heaven, but we don't. We just go into the multiverse and we go into a holding area, and there's a million versions of us,
Right.
and we don't like any of them.
Well, these guys all got along. I mean, I don't know. I can.
That show.
And then there was one guy that didn't look like him. He goes, "Who are you?" After he realizes it's all the different dimensions of Roy or whatever. No, not Roy. I forget his name.
Jerry.
Jerry.
Yeah.
All the different dimensions of Jerry. There's one guy that doesn't look like him. He goes, well, in some dimensions, she actually marries somebody else. But I take really good care of her.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen to us. Anyway, that's our show. And why do I keep doing that?
You know what I need to, I don't know. You know what I need to do? I need to find, next week I want to talk about fish fries and where to get good pepper and egg sandwiches.
Okay.
Have you ever had a pepper and egg sandwich?
No, I'm not
That's
an
it.
idiot.
I think that's a Chicago
I'm not
thing.
Catholic. That's why I haven't ever had one. I
think
eat
that's
fish
a-
whenever I fucking want to.
Do you know? I wonder if they have. I wonder if they have it in other places.
It's a
other than
Midwest thing, but it's mostly Chicago.
Yeah.
But it's a Midwest.
Because we
thing.
have the bread, although now we don't
Yeah.
anymore because Ganella.
Are we ready to go on a tangent now?
Yeah.
Or to the next thing?
We are already
Everybody,
on a
hold on.
tangent.
We're going to swerve.
We're already on a tangent.
Oh, we are. So, did I talk about Egypt yet?
Yeah.
Oh, I refer to the last show. So yeah, because I'm going to Egypt in November, and I decided to get in shape. So I
Wait, did you say November?
yeah.
Well, that's a bad time to go.
Shut up. Like I haven't done all the research. Please, it is going to be weird. I'm leaving Halloween night. I'm avoiding the election entirely.
All right, everybody who thinks that Chris is going to end up on top of with a what do you call those things?
I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about.
The things with the sides.
The
that come-
pyramid?
the pyramid up his ass.
There. I'm aiming for that. But I realized that there's going to be a lot of walking, and it's like everything's done at 7 and 8 in the morning. You visit the pyramids like sunrise because by 9 in the morning it's 116 degrees. And I mean, look at me, all right? This is not 116 degrees body. And so I decided to finally get serious about the gym and started going to the gym, and I hired a personal trainer.
What's your name?
Is Jesse. I refer to him as Obi-Wan because he's my little physical mentor, and he says things like "make it," and these are not the deltoids you're looking for, whatever. And he's having me do a thing called functional exercise. Right? I'm thinking we're going to lift weights. No. Mm-mm. We do things like the farmer's walk. Right? You know what the farmer's walk is?
No.
All right. It's simulating carrying 2 milk buckets. So I carry 2 heavy kettlebells,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I walk a quarter of a mile.
I've heard of that actually.
It hurts, man.
Yeah.
It hurts a lot. And we do dumb exercises like exercises. When you look at them, you would think if you're a person in the gym, like, what is wrong with that guy? My entire body hurts. You know when they say that I have muscles I didn't know I have that hurt? I am experiencing that right now. There are some muscles in the upper part of my leg that I don't know why they're there.
Well, they're to hold up your waist.
I don't know. They don't seem to be. What are you doing, dog? There's a dog here.
I don't know. She's never.
How
done
did you
this
get in a
before.
cigar store? Here, you want some? Yeah, get out. Is that dog going to throw up?
No, I don't think so. That dog's actually got it. It's got an iron stomach.
Anyway, I don't recommend exercises at all. Here's what happened to me when I exercised the other day. First of all, it raises your body temperature insanely.
Yeah. Well, and then you start to sweat.
Start to sweat, and this is how I was dressed. And then and your heart rate goes up, and people look at you. It was just weird. I didn't like it. And then you hurt afterwards. And then I went Wednesday, and it was like I have a half-hour thing.
Doesn't he look like he's gonna start crying right now?
I wanted to cry. I pay for half an hour. I made it to 25 minutes, and I said, "Please stop."
And don't you just stop and go? I just paid for this.
Yeah, I paid to be tortured.
So you pay. Hey, listen, I'll give you $5. You smack me right across the face right now.
That's kind of. Except it's your whole body. Yeah, my eyelashes hurt right now. All right, I lost 2 letters of the alphabet. That's how hard exercise is. So I just don't do it. Just die fat. Fuck it. Who cares? Don't do it to yourself. Although I'm going to be doing it to myself 3 days a week until November.
You don't lose weight by exercising.
I'm not doing this to lose weight.
You're losing it so you can walk around.
I don't care about losing weight.
No, you're doing it so you can walk around Egypt in November.
I'm getting
that
fit.
makes sense.
I'm getting fit.
Right, that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't give a shit about losing weight.
You know
I
what,
bought a bunch of clothes recently. If I lose weight, then I have to buy those clothes again, and I don't want to do it.
You know, I think. Can I suggest something that you should do while you're in Egypt? And I think,
Dave, please suggest something I should do while
our
I'm in
television
Egypt.
friends would agree with me on this. As you're walking through Egypt, especially when you look at pyramids.
I know it's coming. All right, go ahead.
No, it's not.
Go ahead.
You should just thoughtfully say often a lot. You should say, Back in the Egyptian times, when the husband died, the wives were killed and buried with them. Just say that to your wife over and over again several times.
Yeah, you think that's funny, but my wife has an insanely large insurance policy on me, and she watches all these podcasts and stuff about how women kill their husbands and get away with it.
Forensic Files.
Every she drives home every day and it's playing on the radio because she listens to the CNN on the radio and she's listening to Forensic Files, and they're like, and then she stabbed him 23 times. She hid the body in such a way that she was never found until she was 85.
She almost got away with it, but she made this one mistake. And then you're like, right down. Yeah, actually, my wife gets mad at me every time I watch those shows.
I don't like it.
It really weirds her out when I take notes. But it's not like I'm not watching shows so I can kill my wife. I mean, I'm not going to kill. I don't have a plan to kill my wife.
It's you're just gonna wing it. Yeah, my wife is like.
All right, I haven't bought any blue buckets
or a chainsaw. No, my wife has she's got like a $190 insurance policy. Like she dies like at about $200. If I die, she gets like $8 million. All right, and she says this to me, and she's pushing a plate of weird food. She's like, "Here, eat this. Did you know your insurance policy $8 million?" And she's like, "Try this. It's these weird berries that I found in the yard. Try these. Eat this. Eat this apple."
Yeah, we haven't. I remember when I had my motorcycle accident, I said to my wife, I realized at some point that I was actually worth more dead than alive.
Yeah,
and I said to my wife,
we all talked about that.
Yeah, did it?
When you were out, we were all in the hospital. I was like, Annie, he's gone. Take the money. Take the money.
I asked my wife.
He's going to be retarded when he comes out. You don't want that. He was already close. Just take the money.
I said, did you ever think about the fact that the insurance? No, never. Okay.
That was a quick answer. Yeah. That was quick and percussive. Yeah.
All right. So what else we got?
Nothing. I didn't prepare because I'm so worried about this presentation I'm giving tonight that I didn't.
What are you giving a presentation for?
Can't tell you.
Oh.
Stonecutters.
It's where the treasure is buried.
That's right. Me and Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage are going to be hanging out and doing the thing.
Hang on, I got topics. I forgot to open up because I was checking on whether or not we're actually broadcasting.
Oh yeah. I mean, your phone's ringing while we're on the air.
That's somebody at work.
Oh, you have to get that.
No, I'm not.
No, you don't. No, okay.
I'm off duty. Unless you're calling to tell me to stop broadcasting right now.
Quit saying stuff about the cops.
All right. Hey, listen. Speaking of police stuff, well, not police stuff, but government stuff, there is Chicago has a do not hire list.
We all know what's on that list.
This is people who have worked for the city or and have gotten let go or retired or done whatever. And there's a list that the city keeps of people not to hire back. Now they don't say why you can't get hired back. I mean, it could be you resigned in the middle of an investigation. It could be whatever, It was in the news because the former superintendent of the Chicago Police Department is on that list, and it was interesting. All right, to me, it was interesting because of this. There's a 29-page list. There's only 4 topics of why, like resigned under investigation or whatever, and they just all they do is have the name, the person, do not hire. Well, it affects your job prospects in other places too, because this list is public.
No, why is it public? It shouldn't be public.
Because it's a government-kept list, and it was FOIA.
No one's going to check that.
They published it in the Sun-Times on, I don't know, 4 days ago.
Well, that's embarrassing, but I'm just saying that no prospect is going to check that.
Well, I think at the level like the superintendent, of course, this is in the news, but I mean,
maybe.
But here's the thing. So there was some stories going around about how basically the same reaction that you said was, why is this public and it's going to hurt people's job prospects and this and that. And I figured that I thought of a reason why. There is a guy named Bill McCaffrey. Is it Bill McCaffrey? Yeah, Bill McCaffrey.
Good old Bill McCaffrey.
Who was the law department spokesman, but also at one point was a reporter. And I realized of the 29 pages, other than the superintendent, of the 29 pages of people that were listed on this do not hire list, they talk about Bill McCaffrey.
Really?
And so I think first, this was FOIA'd by a news organization. So they FOIA'd this list. They published the list, and then they complained about the list and why it's public, because there's a reporter on the list. I would really love to talk to somebody, find out if that's true, because that's the way it went through my mind. It's like, wait a minute, you are a news organization. You asked for this list. You demanded that it be made public. Then you published it, and then you complained about why it was public. Doesn't that seem strange?
Oh, dude, they were complaining about the fact that anyone can get it being public, not that they put it in their news. Okay, I see. It's still the same point.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just I saw that story and it struck me as odd.
Well, you hate the press, so
I just think they're biased. But in this case, they're biased for and against themselves. I don't understand how. This isn't even a question of bias. It's just a question of circular logic. Yeah.
Okay.
All
right.
Chris also sent me a story today about how 25% of the global warming, that really does smell good. What is that, Mississippi mud?
Mississippi mud, ladies and gentlemen, if you smoke a pipe, I cannot recommend this tobacco highly enough. It is amazing. It's by something in Deal. I can't remember who the hell they are. Really amazing stuff.
So
please smoke it.
You sent me a thing saying that 25% of all tweets sent of denying global warming are done by bots, and it was a study saying it gives the deniers. And I said, that is ridiculous. 25% of all tweets are sent by bots, according to Wikipedia. There's some studies they cited. I didn't download the studies, but you can write that story about literally any topic.
Well, I think that they were making it in a specific category, and also looking at the math in that category, and it also happened to be 25%. It doesn't mean that if 25% of all tweets are by bots, that does not logically imply, you can't infer that in a specific category also 25% of the bots are fake. It doesn't work like that. It could be in all the bots writing about dish rags. There's only 15% of all dish rag tweets are by bots, but like 70% of all tweets about bots that are tweeting are by bots. And so when you add all those different things up, it comes out to 25% of all tweets. But a subcategory can have a different number or can have the same number, but it doesn't mean that it's inferred from the overall number. It's the other way around. So
do they say what percentage of tweets supporting global warming, or how you phrase it? Nobody supports global warming. Who agree with what their stance on global warming is? Did they say what percentage of those are created by bots?
I don't know. I didn't read the story.
All right.
I just forwarded it to you because I saw the headline. I'm like, hey, Dave will hate this. So I sent it to you because that's what friends are for, man.
I had a conversation with a friend who was explaining to me about what I believe about global warming or climate change, whatever we're calling it these days. And it always amuses me to talk to liberals and Democrats and hear them describe what conservatives and Republicans believe.
Well, I don't do that because I don't think you should generalize about people based on their political points of view.
Well, it's not
like you just did.
It's what do you mean?
Yeah, you just generalized about Democrats and liberals.
No, I said I enjoy when I'm talking to Democrats and liberals.
Sure. And
they describe what conservatives and Republicans. I assume that conservatives and Republicans do the same thing. When I talk
technically, they're not necessarily the same thing, but usually,
unless I talk to a real right-wing nut job, most of the conservative moderates that I talk to agree with my conservative moderate opinion. So therefore, when I'm talking to them, you're inside a bubble. But it's when I'm talking to, especially my family members and stuff who are liberal and Democrats, then they tell me what conservatives believe, and I'm like, that's actually not very true. And you've done this too.
Yeah, because I generalize.
Global climate change deniers and Republicans don't believe in climate change. That's not true. That's what liberals believe. That's what liberals believe. Conservatives believe. That's not what conservatives believe.
Well, you're generalizing about conservatives too.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah, like you're the only representative. You're not. I mean, there's weirdo conservatives that do believe.
Yeah,
that.
but most of the people I talk. Yeah, I suppose you're probably right, and probably everybody should do that. And if everybody if everybody stopped generalizing even a little bit, it would completely stop conversation in this country. Because
my God, yes.
Because if you couldn't say every single time anybody said anything about all other people, then you couldn't actually say anything about anybody except yourself.
Well, it changes the way you think, because in order for you to generalize, you have to disregard specifics. That's literally what it means. And if you voluntarily change, I don't know if there's another way, change your language to eliminate generalization in your language, then it is going to eventually change the way you think. It may not change what you believe in, but it will change how you think, because as you stop generalizing, you will have to use specifics in your conversation more often. And so you'll become more used to referring to specific things instead of general things.
Right, but
which is a better way to do stuff.
And if you do that, what it means is, because I think everybody can agree that generalizations are there for a reason. Stereotypes are there for a reason. And if you stop using
everybody says generalization is dumb.
If you
ask anybody.
If you stop using generalizations and you only use specifics, then it makes specific people much more outsized influence than they actually have.
It's even more complicated than what I said.
That's right.
So I want to talk about a new thing.
All right, go ahead.
So somebody today said something to me in a forum, and it reminded me. I've heard this a lot from my friends who self-identify as super smart. All right.
That's a generalization.
No, it's not. I have a few friends who self-identify as very, very smart. In an arrogant way, not in a, look, here's my, whatever. There's not really any other way to do that except an arrogant way. I do know really smart people who never think that way. They don't care. Their high intelligence is not a factor for them in terms of their personality. But some people...
They don't have to tell you.
Right. Some people kind of wear their brains on their sleeves. And so somebody was doing that today, and they're like, oh, my God, I hate small talk. And I was like, you're an idiot. Small talk is important. And because if you don't have first of all, what do you think about small talk? And
yeah, I think it's. I actually think we don't do it enough because, well, I mean, small talk allows you to start listening to the person that you're talking to.
Yeah, I had to explain. Small talk is content neutral. Yeah, you're asking questions that are really kind of banal and dumb. You're saying, "Hey, how's your day? Hey, how's your wife and kids?" Well, you know what the answer is going to be. No, yeah, my day was okay. Yeah, they're fine. It doesn't matter. You're not really... It's like saying, how are you? Right. You're not really asking how somebody is. You don't care. You're giving them a verbal tag saying, I am ready to converse with you. But you can't open a conversation with a line like, I'm really curious about how you feel on Immanuel Kant's dissertation on tea leaves. You can't do that.
Right.
All right? First of all, they may not have read that essay. And second of all, it's like, that's too much at the front. You got to kind of work up to it, and you got to feel people out. And that's what small talk is about.
Even to even simplify it further, you can't have somebody like I had somebody come in here to give me a quote for work. You can't just have somebody come in and go, yeah, look at that floor. Tell me how much it is to put tile on it. I mean, you look like a jagoff.
Yeah.
If that's all, you don't even say, hey, man, how you doing? You don't even say polite. I always love, like, you see this on movies or Star Trek used to do it eventually, where there's like these long, elaborate ritualistic conversations before you get to whatever the topic is. It seems I don't want to. It's going to sound like a stereotype. It seems like a much more Asian thing. Although actually no, Muslims, Arabs do it. Arabs do it too, where you have to actually. I mean, you have to sit down. You have to have your start your coffee, and you have a whole. If you
I've
get
talked to Arab people, and I didn't have to do any of that shit.
Well, it's not. You don't have to.
I've talked to Muslim people. I didn't have to do any of that shit.
Right, and they think that you're rude.
No, they started the conversation. I didn't do it.
Well, I just think that there in some cultures. Let me put it that way. In some cultures, there is this elaborate sort of greeting and start to conversations that if you kind of skip over it, you're seen as rude because it means you don't care about them.
I think that's true in formalized situations.
Yeah,
like in a business meeting. Or in a meeting between families or something like that. That's definitely true. And it's true in cultures where you don't think about that either. I mean, in my culture, in the South, no one actually codifies this thing, but there are definitely meet and greet rituals when there's a whole bunch of people getting together. and it doesn't seem like it because it's not formalized, but there's stuff you have to go through. First of all, there's the hug gauntlet, which can take like 45 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
And you have to go in. That's going in and going out, man. But you got to block aside a lot of time when you're visiting a Southern family, because you got 45 minutes hugging into the family. Then when you leave, it's another 45 minutes, and then there's the false leave, where halfway through the hugging thing, something comes up, and then a whole new conversation ends. Now you got to start the whole thing over again.
I'm sorry. I have to. That's not a false leave. That is okay. Picture a room. You're at the back of the room. The door's at the front of the room. You have to say goodbye to your family. You have to hug them all as you go through, right? Okay.
Right.
Just
The
assume
hug gauntlet.
It's the hug gauntlet. You have to. So you're at the beginning of the hug gauntlet. You and your wife make a decision. Okay, it's time to leave. Let's start saying goodbye, and you start moving down the hug gauntlet. But you, as a man, have said you've heard the words. It's time to leave. You've agreed this with your wife. Yeah. You have started the gauntlet. Your focus is on getting through the gauntlet,
goal oriented,
and leaving.
We're door oriented.
Yes, it's your wife that starts the conversations.
Yeah, normally.
There
yeah,
you go.
Yeah,
See?
definitely. Yeah. So I talked to a guy the other day.
That's what I wanted to talk about.
Son of a bitch.
All right, all right. I'm sorry. I just went off on a tangent by that.
The tangent has returned.
That absolutely misogynistic
re-tangented.
comment. That misogynistic comment that I just made, which my wife will understand. I don't know if anybody else will.
Yeah.
Sent me back on my tangent. Okay, earlier you were talking about some YouTube video, and the Mr. Rogers thing.
Yeah.
And it made me think of: have you seen the Target parking lot husband club commercial?
No, I haven't seen that.
Oh, I wish I could. You know what? By next week, I'm going to figure out a way to play YouTube.
That's right, people.
But you look up the Target parking lot husbands. I don't know what, some comedy thing made this up. It is absolutely hilarious. It's a group of husbands whose wives go shopping at Target all the time, and these guys, since they didn't want to go in there and shopping because they've tried that, they've gone in there and all they ended up doing was holding her purse while she looked at stuff. So they wait out in the parking lot.
Signed up for.
And now they're doing it for hours. And so in the end, now they formed this club. They all park in the same spot. They tailgate out there while they're waiting for their wives to do shopping. They got poker games set up in the back of a van. Then they started realizing that they were having trouble, because with the kids. So they set up one van as a daycare where they switch off watching all the kids. And I mean, it's like one guy said, "Yeah, I'd be waiting for my wife for hours out here, and just because I was bored, didn't have anything else to do, I'd start putting carts away." And Target noticed what I was doing, and they offered me a job. I logged 12 hours last week. So it's like, it's like absolutely serious. These guys are all serious. It is hilarious. They have football games in the parking lot. My wife sent it to me, actually. She thought it was funny, too.
Haven't we always thought about that, though, when we're shopping with our wives? We're always like, isn't there a place I can sit down? Then you think, why isn't there a man lounge?
Right. Why? Or a cigar store in a mall.
Yeah. This is a generalization, but it's mostly true, and that is that women shop differently from men. Now, I'm not saying that it's because they're dumb or anything like that. Women shop differently from men because women are concerned usually about the quality of the product, the fit of the product, and the price. So they're actually shopping. And men don't shop.
They want to see what their options are.
Yeah, men don't shop.
Yeah.
Men get.
Yeah.
We go in, we get something, we get out. That's what we do because we can't stand. For some reason, most men can't stand shopping. I can't stand shopping. I hate it. Thank God for Amazon.
If I need a white T-shirt, I go into the white T-shirt aisle, find my size, walk to the register, and walk out.
I sometimes don't even find my size. I just grab a T-shirt and go.
If my wife goes in there looking for a white T-shirt, she's got to look at the different shades of white to figure out which white would be the best white for her skin tones.
You got to look at a red T-shirt and compare it to a white T-shirt. And then you go into the tent section, and then you're looking at purses.
Right.
And that's me.
And you know what? I a lot of times too, if you go shopping and I'm bored and I'm going along with my wife, and she's looking for some clothes, you inevitably end up at some point either in or at the edges of the intimate apparel section.
Yeah, I don't know how that happens. It's like the store is bowl shaped or something.
Right, which is
or cone shaped, or I don't know, half spherical shaped.
Right,
and there's a terminus right at the top of the sphere, and that's where we always end up. What time is it?
4:04.
Oh,
we got about 10 minutes. Okay. No, I'm just kidding. We started. How much time we got?
Mess with me, man. I gotta go.
Oh yeah, that's right. So yeah, and I mean, my point about the intimate apparel section is not that I'm ever opposed to going and looking at intimate apparel, but it's a little uncomfortable when you're with your wife.
Why?
I don't know.
I start throwing stuff on her.
Well,
I try this.
I do
try
that
this
too for fun. Yeah.
Yeah, try this one out. Yeah.
Hey,
what do you think of this?
Great slingshot.
Yeah.
All right, wait. There was one thing about Hunters though that I think that I should mention.
Hunters is the TV show.
The TV show with Al Pacino about the there is a scene.
Yeah.
There is a scene in Hunters where I believe they have not yet explained it, but I believe this is a former Nazi woman gets killed by this group of Jewish vengeance seekers, I guess, and she's killed by somebody putting poison in her shower head in the bathroom.
Oh wow!
And while she's taking a shower, the gas starts coming out, and she gets gassed to death.
That's a little on the nose.
She's 70 years old.
That's a little on the nose right there.
Let me just say, okay, they show the entire bathroom.
What does that mean?
Full frontal nudity of a 70-year-old woman.
Ooh, wow!
And full rear.
Are there any
nudity.
Are there any slow-mo parts?
No, there's no slow-mo parts. Yeah,
silver hair beauty.
You know, at least you can say that this is not. I mean, it's not like some. It's not like they went back to the 60s and this woman is still a beautiful Nazi who. It's 70 years old.
Well, I know a woman who's 70 years old and she looks like she's 25. Man.
Helen Mirren.
No, but also her.
Yeah.
Yeah. My wife hates this woman. She loves her because they're friends.
Frenemies?
Yeah, she's a friend of me. They're like associates. And she is 70 years old. And when you look at her, you're like, I don't know why you're claiming that, but I don't get it. And you don't have to do that. You look great. Whatever. You don't have to pretend that
you're older than you are.
You don't have to pretend like you look 35 years younger than you actually are. And she's like, no, I'm 70. She whips out her driver's license, and Jesus Christ, she's 70.
Well, I'll tell you what. My wife is, I'm not going to say how old she is, but
70.
She still looks like she's 30. And if that. I mean, there is occasions where she actually gets carded. And I submit that this mostly because I look a lot older than I am. And I think...
well, you're 61, right?
She gets confused for my daughter all the time.
That has happened to me and my mom.
Yeah, that happened to me and my mom.
When my mom and I were in England, we went to this hotel, and everyone was checking in pairs, and so my wife was with my son and daughter, and so I was behind my mom, and it was my turn to share a room and everything, and so we checked in at the same time, and he checked me in, and he go, and the missus? And he looked at my mom, and I'm like, what? And he goes, your wife, sir? And I'm like, no. I'm like, no, that's my mom. And he looked like this. He went, really? I was like, Jesus Christ, man. I mean, come on.
Thanks for implanting that thought.
Yeah, woohoo! But my mom and I did room together, and I realized it was the first time I'd slept in the same room as my mom since I was like 4 years old, and it was in a gay hotel. It's the gayest hotel in Liverpool, like super extra gay, and we almost set it on fire because
there's anything wrong with that.
Not there's anything wrong with that.
Well, you couldn't moisturize.
Well, I will say the shower was odd, but we used our American adapters for English electrical things, and they caught on fire. We had to put it out and call the guy from downstairs, and so anyway, that was a terrible story. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's how we should end the broadcast.
It is, because it's time for you to go.
On a down note,
Chris is. We didn't even really. Well, he's wearing a tuxedo. Well,
that's right. Just for you people. Yeah. Just for my listeners.
Just for you guys.
That's right. I care. That's
all
why.
Right. So thank you for joining us. We'll be back next week. Next week we'll be back at doing at 5 o'clock. I think.
Should we tease the cigar thing tomorrow?
What cigar thing?
Hey, listen. If you're a smoker and you like cigars and pipes, there's an event tomorrow at Arlington Pipe Club in Arlington Heights, Illinois.
Oh yeah.
For Ace Prime Cigars, which carries the amazing Luciano and the signature Dominic Wilkins, which are really good cigars, are going to be doing a thing at 2 o'clock tomorrow in the store. Luciano, whose last name I can't pronounce, is going to unravel cigars and explain the tobacco that's in them.
Oh, yeah.
Very, very cool. So you should go.
They're deconstructing a cigar.
Deconstructing a cigar.
Arlington Pipe Tobacco. Arlington Pipe Club has the best selection of pipe tobacco.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. All right, we're out.
All right, have a good weekend.